raised Larry and Will, and my husband. If you're gonna go and do whatever you do, good, bad, otherwise. Don't be a snitch. Don't sing in the choir, because I see too many choirs in my profession.
At this moment, I want to bring up the first brother, which is Mr. Larry Rivera.
How are y'all doing today? First, I want to thank God for this opportunity, because the young man you saw got hit that was on that video, that's me. Mike stood over me. And it's hard for me not to stand here and say thank you. It really is. But when I look at this brother right here, I can feel his pain. Because now I'm 42 years old. When I look at these young people right now, that's how we were. We were young like these brothers back here. Some of the brothers around here, we were young like these brothers, just like that. I look like, at that time, I looked younger than this brother. All right? I'm 42 right now. Imagine how young I look laying on the ground. Imagine how young I look being arrested. I want you to think about it. I was a young man who graduated out of 11th grade. In 1990, when people in Fayetteville weren't graduating out of the 11th grade, they weren't graduating early. I was a young man that wanted to be a veterinarian. I was a young man that many people knew me because I was #1 fighter in the United States in my weight division at the time. Double gold medalist in the Junior Olympics, trained at the Olympic Training Center. I was at college during that time. And I was here coming to do what we did when we were young. We always fought when we were coming up. I watched this man right here fighting plenty of fights. I'm serious. This is one of the men I used to look up to when I see him fight, because he'll fight anybody. And he wasn't this big when we were coming up. He was a real slim brother, skinny brother. And he'll fight anybody over his girlfriend. He stayed in some mess over his girlfriend. But I've seen him fight plenty of time when we were young coming up. He's older than me. So I looked up to Mike Joyner. All right? And then I was fighting all the time. And when we fought, we got up, we left. Then it got to a point where they start throwing bricks at each other. I mean, come on, let's be real. You know what I'm saying? This is historical. This is monumental for this city. All right? Because Hollywood Heights was something else. Bunts Road was something else. And we grew up fighting one another. We didn't grow up killing one another. That's not what we did. And when you hear people say all the time, well, we didn't manufacture the guns. We didn't manufacture the drugs. How did they get in our communities? How many of you would like to know that on a college campus I was recruited? I wanted to be a veterinarian. How many of you want to know that a grown man came to me, approached me? See, a lot of people don't come out and talk this kind of talk. Because when they come out of prison, they're scared because they're afraid. I'm not afraid. Because I can't show these young brothers I'm scared. I'm not running for office. I was approached on a college campus to sell guns by the same city officials that we pay every day. How many of you want to know that when you send your child to school and he's asking you for money and you say, no, I want to teach you a lesson because you spent your money the wrong way? And then somebody's on the campus. How many want to know that there's somebody out there recruiting your child right now on a college campus, and you teaching your children you just need to go to college? But you don't know there's somebody on that campus right now. When I went to federal prison, you know how many young college students were there? There were so many young college students there that NC State second string used to come into Butner, North Carolina, and them brothers used to beat them. That's how many college students are right now, young black men in prison that have been recruited on college campuses. Never did I think that I'd be working on the minds of my people. I thought I'd be working on animals. But if you look at our youth today, that's where they at, on the level in the plane of animals. We got to think about it. I speak from passion, from experience. I just talked to his brother. It wasn't an hour before I saw your brother, man. We shook hands at the gas station right up the street. An hour later, because we like chimpanzees with guns in our hands. How many of you will walk around a chimpanzee with a gun in his hand? I'm a black man. That ain't a racist statement. Nobody want to be in a cell block with a chimpanzee with a gun in his hand because you don't know how he's going to use it. Might use it on himself, might use it on you. That's how we are today. We can't even identify with one another. We can't even identify with each other's struggle. Mike and I made a pact. He was in one prison, I was in another prison. When I realized that I was brought in by somebody who was an agent, my mother's in this audience right now, my father, who raised me from the time I'm 7 years old. They would tell you, I looked at the judge and I told him, you'll have my body, but you'll never have my mind, because I realized that I had been tricked. When Malcolm X said you've been bamboozled, you've been hoodwinked, he meant that. He also said a person who won't treat you right won't teach you right. He meant that. If I go out to Starbucks, we just came from Starbucks. When he came in, I said, Mike, I'm going to treat you to Starbucks, brother. We went in there and I was standing around and I said, Mike, by the way things look in the mall and everything, you can't see a crisis within our community. It's so easy to go out here in the mall and go out here and party and do what you're doing. You can't see your people suffering. You don't know how many people are strung out on these new drugs that's coming out right now. By the way, when you go in the mall, you think, man, Larry's talking crazy. Everything seems fine out here. Everything looks good, but go look at the statistics. Go into prison and look. Every 30 people that come in is 27 young black men. How many sisters out here single right now? Where are the black men? How you going to raise a black man for your little daughter when he don't want to be a man? This is your future we talking about. This is my future. And I refuse to punk out to the lot. If I had to suffer and I had to give that up, at least I'm going to come out and offer these young brothers that I brought here, that I mentor every day, the truth. You want to know how you change these children today? You tell them the truth. Don't bend on it. Speak the truth to them. Tell them who their enemy is. Nobody's happy when you sitting there telling them and they know that they're not failing the system. The system is failing them. These children are bright today. They can Google. They see all the shootings taking place. They see the police gunning us down. We're the ones acting like it's not happening. We're the ones 40 years old, 45 years old, still partying, still clubbing. When does it stop? When do we grow up? My generation still partying, man, and going to the school systems. And look, I work within the school systems. I see the condition of our young black males, our young black girls. They worse than the brothers now. They fighting harder than the brothers now. They riding with bigger rims and selling more dope than the brothers now. This is real. We in a crisis, man. This is no coincidence, brother. I will not let your brother die in vain. That experience, brother, didn't change me right then. But about 4 or 5 years later, that changed my life. So every time I look back and see how I contributed to a young brother dying, he lives through me. I'm obligated to resurrect him through me. When I look at Malcolm X, I'm obligated. When I look at Martin Luther King, I'm obligated. I don't just put them on a wall and praise them because they're dead now. I'm going to bring them back to life. So I commend Mike for what he's doing. But we as adults got to step up, man. We fooling ourselves. Going to anybody else's community. You go in there. Who else thinks it's cool to parade our children? It was a time when we used to tell our little girls, get it, girl, get it, girl. Now we telling our own boys, get it, man, get it, man. The same thing that you talk about you didn't like, you praising it now. The same thing that you said you didn't have when you was a young girl, a good example of a man, you praising it now. How this whole thing has been reversed on us. And some of us refuse to bow down. Some of us refuse to be quiet. I'm one of them. And God keep blessing me. When I was in federal prison, how many of you ever see the videos where you got to fight? When you in the cell block, they set you up. When I went through, they saw that I was a second-degree black belt. How many of you think that they say, we want to see if this young man can really perform like that? So they would put me in a cell block with handcuffs behind my back and make me fight somebody with no handcuffs. And every time I saw God was with me, my mother would tell you, they put something in my food in Atlanta Penitentiary and shipped me all the way to Oklahoma City to a hospital. My mother's right here. I'm not lying to you. Because I was in prison teaching young black men and older black men how to clean up their lives, stop the gangs from killing one another. They didn't like that. You would think that they would praise me. They didn't praise me. They'll come and they'll offer me a deal. My mother would get phone calls because just like you have enemy, you have friends. God put friends amongst your enemy. And there'll be guards that'll call my mother and say, Miss Rivera, they're getting ready to do this to your son, so I'm going ahead and give you the head up. My mother's right there. I'm not making it up. We live in a real world. Our black boys, our black girls are public enemy number one. And we can act like it's not. We can fake and we can, when they walk around, we get quiet. You start talking about what's really going on. Then when somebody walks around, you start whispering. Because you're afraid to face the reality that they are targeting our children. And we going right along with it. Just look in our communities. We don't even understand. Why are the Arabs in our communities selling things to us that they don't eat? That they don't smoke? All the sisters go to the Asians. This is real. I mean, I got Asian friends. I got white friends. I got black friends, Puerto Rican friends, Puerto Rican father. This is reality. Don't mean I be quiet just because of what I see going on because I got 2 or 3 friends. I still have to speak the truth. We go get our nails done from the Asians, go get our hair done from the Asians, buy our shoes. We don't own nothing, not even a toothpick factory. We don't produce anything. We're nothing but consumers. And people don't want to hear this. They want you to get up here and stroke and rub their back and talk about how things going to be all right. It's not going to be all right unless we make it all right. Nobody ain't going to come in our community and make things better for us. It don't even make sense for the gazelle to go to the lion and try to make life better for the baby lion. Where does that make any sense? We go to the circus, we see the lion sitting up in there with 3 or 4 of them with one man with a whip, and we all with it with our children. That's us. The lion sitting up there, the sleeping lion, the sleeping giant. So afraid of what other people are going to think. So afraid to vote for Miss Val Applewhite. Someone who will speak her mind, be vilified. So afraid to show our support openly. Say one thing, then you get opposed, then you may do it. How is it that we the majority, but when you go and vote, we the minority? We are sick people. We got more degrees, doctorate degrees, masters. We ain't mastered anything. It's quite obvious their children being taught something different than our children. How is it that we can perform so well in the sports? Do you know what it takes to run that play? Do you know what you got to remember out of those 50 and 60 plays? Them brothers are geniuses. It's because they want it. It's because they're inspired. If your child right now is 6, 7, 8 years old and they're talking about they want to be a scientist, an engineer, and you ain't got them in some kind of field right now that's cultivating their minds in that direction, I'm telling you right now, your child is light years behind. You're selling them a dream. And that's why when they go into college, they drop out. This ain't racism. This is truth. Get in the office with some white folks to tell you the truth and how they want to help you. But you don't want to help yourself. And why are they going to step out there and get disconnected from their own people when you want to be disconnected from your own people? I mean, think about that. You're going to ask people to make a sacrifice for you you won't make for yourself? This is serious. This is real serious. And it looks good as long as you go into school and you just look around. But if you really look at statistics, in the United States is ranked number 25 in math in the world. 23 in science in the world. Number 17, I heard in the past couple of years, has dropped to maybe like 15 or 14. We rank number 14 in English in the world. I'm talking about the country, black, white, everybody. You go over to other countries, they're way more advanced than we are with technology. But guess what? They say in arrogance and in confidence, we're ranked number 1. Number 1 in confidence. We walk around proud to be dumb. Proud as can be. As happy as can be. To be dumb. And then we make mockery of how many of them live in their homes. Then we make mockery of the Mexicans when they own Compare Foods and they own financial business right over there by Westover. Yeah. Well, we make mockery of them and laugh at them how hard they're working. But look at their condition. So I thank God every day by the way I speak, how I speak, what I study. I thank God every day for sparing my life. Many a time. But what do I owe God? That's the question. Many of us could talk about how many times God spared our life. For what? For you to be the same? For you to be just as scared as you were before your life was put on the line and you almost lost it? I learned in prison that only God can save me. When you in that hole and that person who's threatening you got to feed you and you got to fast for 7 days, you learn real quick that only God can save you. And when you come out alive and you come out healthy and looking and feeling better than when you went in, that's God. I talk like this in prison. I didn't wait to get out of prison to talk like this. Ask my mother. My mother would come and sit down and say, Larry, you're in the hole again. Can you just please just make it out of prison before you tell all these people this? And my pop sitting right there, who I got his last name. I was born Larry Thomas Russell Jr. I am now Larry Thomas Rivera. And that man right there would sit there because that's what a woman's supposed to do. Just, baby, I just want you to get out of here. And my pop would say, do what you got to do, man. Do what you got to do. It's either them or you. And I understand both of them, but we got to balance that. Our children are in trouble, Mike. All right, we think our children are doing good in school. The valedictorian out of E.E. Smith went to Wake Forest on a scholarship. She said when she got there and she started seeing what they were teaching, she said, man, I've been cheated out of an education. These are her words. I've been cheated out of an education because, good Lord, when they were teaching in there, there was no way I was able to comprehend as quick as they are comprehending the information. So we think they're teaching our children. So what my wife and I have done, we've opened up our own child care system. And it's not a daycare. It's a child care. And it's called Bright Young Minds. And it teaches them from the time they're 1.5 years old, science, technology, engineering, math. When my wife was teaching, when she went up into the school system, I told her, I said, Yolanda, remember when I tell you this now, just so you'll stay humble. You're going to go in there and you're going to perform. And they can read statistics from the computer. And they see all these students are failing, but they got a software that where they can read and see, how did this young man go from an F to a B? How did all these people in this one young lady's class happen? And this is the God honest truth. The superintendent will come and sit in her class. Just walk up and go and sit in the back of her class and watch as she taught. And when she will go prepare for professional developments, he will walk up to her and shake her hand. How you doing, Miss Rivera? That's the superintendent. How does he know from way over there who she is? It's because how them little black children were performing. He wanted to know, what is she doing? Is she cheating? No, it's because she would bring me in first, and I would speak to them as a black man. Tell them what I'm telling you right now and inspire them and let them know this is a game, all right, but it's a game for your life. It's life or death. You may still be living, but you'll be my age and be miserable. Young ladies, you'll be my age and you'll be miserable with no man with a bunch of children. That's part of the game. You'll be unhappy. Yeah, you'll have the money. You'll have the nice car. You'll be flossing, but you won't be happy. That's part of it. It's okay with them, as long as it's okay with you. But it don't mean anything. So I just want to thank everybody for coming out to support Mike. I want to thank Mike for making a great change in his life. Because listen, me and this brother, there's a Mike and there's a Mike. We were complete opposite. I mean, I fought and got suspended, don't get me wrong. But I wasn't raised like these brothers was raised in poverty. These brothers was raised in rough neighborhoods. I used to just go to the neighborhoods. Because I live right down the street, ride my bike, right or wrong, Mike, right or wrong. But I can ride my bike right back down to Hermitage Place. My mother had a little house on the lake. Keeping it real. I'm not getting up here acting like I was raised like that. I'm telling you that our top students, that's who they targeting. They already got Mike when he was young. They got Mike when he was young. They already had them. Now they're coming for us. Your top students. Your students performing well. And I've met so many parents since I've been home. So many parents have these top students and they praising them. Go look at them now. Daughters have 3 children. What? But she was doing well in school. Son smoking weed on the block with his partners, hanging with his partners. That is powerful influence. And we have to intervene. And it's just like, and I'm finished. The vaccine has a little bit of the sickness in it. They put a little bit of sickness in so your body can fight against defeat it. So when the real thing comes, they prepared. So many of you run from brothers like me. Many of y'all run from brothers like them. But you don't know is God has shaped and molded us so we can reach your children. So you got to put brothers like us in the position. Why are we always struggling? Why I got to beg people to help me help them with their children? But the moment they want some Jordans, you go spend that $200. You can find that $200. The moment they want to get into a football or basketball camp, you can find that $250. But a brother that want to come into their life and then immediately within 2, 3, 4 weeks you see a change, then after 6 months you're saying, I got it now. I don't need you no more. I'm telling you something that's an epidemic. You know how many sisters I come into their lives and my wife allows me to mentor their children and their children go from failing to doing very well, then after a while, we don't need you no more, we got it. Now you want to disagree with me when you had a 13-year-old, 14-year-old all your life and you couldn't handle it. The moment we come in their life, we start making changes overnight. Now you don't want to deal with us no more because you got it now. You learned something. I was mentoring him, not you. So I just want to say thank each and every one of you, but I can't come up here and give you a watered-down teaching. I just can't do it. If I'm going to talk about my life, I'm going to tell you about my life. This is what I've seen with my own 2 eyes. Thank you.